Hello, hello. Let's see. Okay, hello, everybody. We are going to pick up today where we left off in class modeling fractions with our fraction circles. So I'm going to go over the worksheet we did, and then I'm going to show you some word problems. Okay, so it says use your fraction circles to model each problem below. Our example is 1/2 of 1/3. So we trace the 1/3 piece, so I'm just going to pull this 1/3 piece over here. This is 1 out of 3, 1/3. I'm going to find two pieces that are the same size that fit evenly on that 1/3 piece. So I have a variety of fraction circles with me, but I see this piece here is 1/6, should fit right over the top. And if I try another 1/6 piece on top, I'll see that it'll fit exactly even over that 1/3 piece. So let me just go ahead and do that. So what I've actually just modeled is 1/2 of 1/3. I divided the 1/3 piece into two even pieces. So what is 1/2 of 1/3? Well, I'll show you here. It is 1/6. You can see half of this 1/3 piece is this part here, the 1/6. So write my equation. My equation would look like this: 1/2 times 1/3 equals 1/6. I would like you to notice that we started with a fraction and we split that fraction into a smaller part. So what happens with our answer, our product actually gets smaller because we found a half of a third. We found a fraction of a fraction. So my answer when I multiply fractions will always get smaller. So as you go through the process on your packet, you should start to be aware of that. Let's take a look at some word problems. The problem is Matt ate 1/2 of a peanut butter sandwich for a snack. For lunch, Matt ate half of the half. This is actually a multiplication problem, even though it seems like we're dividing. The question is, how much of the entire peanut butter sandwich did Matt eat for lunch? So I'm going to start with the whole sandwich. I'm going to make it a square this time. So this is one whole sandwich, okay? It says he ate half of it for a snack. So let's say he only has half left. Let's say he has this half left, okay? The other part is gone. So for lunch, Matt ate half of that half. So he ate this part, half of that half. So if I were to draw a little dash here, I could see the whole thing's been cut into 4 equal pieces. But I'm only concerned right here with this half of a half. Okay, and my equation would be what is 1/2 times 1/2? Well, half of a half, the section that's shaded becomes 1 out of 4. Half of a half is 1/4. Again, notice my product, my answer to a multiplication problem gets smaller because I'm taking a part. I'm only starting with a half of a part. Okay, when you take part of a part, it gets smaller. Let's look at the next problem. Karina's mom baked a cake for her birthday. There's half the cake left over after the party. So if I had a whole cake, this time it's going to be round, I would have half left. So let's say I have this half left, the other side is gone. The next day, Karina ate 1/3 of the leftover cake. So if this is the part that was left, I'm going to start with that half piece or that half cake, and I'm going to divide it into 3 equal sections because she ate 1/3 of it. So she ate this much. Well, in order to figure out how big that piece is, I have to compare it to the whole thing. So if I were to make dashed lines and cut the whole thing, I could see that small piece that she ate is 1 out of 6. So Karina ate 1/6 the next day. So here's what my equation would be. She ate 1/3 of the 1/2 that was left. So how much of the whole cake did she eat? She ate 1/6 of it. And again, if you examine these numbers, 1/6 is going to be smaller than either 1/3 and 1/2 because 1/3 is a part of that little part she had to start with. So multiplying fractions is taking part of a part. Your product gets smaller. And the next one, Mrs. Warnicki planted flowers in 1/4 of her garden. 1/2 of the flowers she planted were roses. So let's model this problem. Okay, Mrs. Warnicki planted flowers in 1/4 of her garden. So say I have a rectangular shaped garden and I cut it into 4 sections. Okay, say this is the 1/4 where I have flowers. Maybe the rest I have vegetables. Okay, 1/2 of the flowers I planted were roses. So half of that 1/4 section. So half of this section is actually the flowers. So this part would be the flowers. If I were to look at the whole thing, I could see this part here where there's flowers is 1 out of 8 pieces. So my answer is she planted 1/8 of the flowers were roses. So what did I start with? I started with the 1/4 and I found let's see. Yeah, I started with the 1/4 and I found half of the 1/4. So 1/2 times 1/4 is 1/8 of those flowers are roses. Again, my product 1/8 is smaller than what I started with, the half and the 1/4. Okay, and then finally a recipe for cookies calls for 2/3 cup of flour. So if I had a whole cup of flour, I'll do this as a rectangle as well. 2/3, so 2 of these 3 parts is the flour the cookies need. How many cups of flour would you need if you wanted to make half the recipe? So I'm going to take what I have here and cut it in half. I'm showing you guys a little bit differently here. I'm double shading here. So half, if I look at that half, that is 2 out of a total of what would have been 6 pieces. So let's see what I actually did here. I had to find 1/2 of, or that means times, 2/3. And I get 2 out of 6. Which if I were to simplify this, I'd get 1/3. This one's a little trickier. We'll talk about it more in class tomorrow. Let's take one final look at how we would actually multiply fractions. This is what you guys really need to know. Okay, first we multiply the numerators. That's the top number of a fraction. Then we multiply the denominators. That's the bottom number of a fraction. And then we simplify if we need to. So let's find the product. 1/2 times 3/5. So multiply the numerators. 1 times 3 equals 3. Multiply the denominators. 2 times 5 equals 10. Okay, that's it. I'm done. 3/10. And you should stop and notice that our product, 3/10, is actually less than 1/2 and less than 3/5. 1/2 is 5/10. 3/5 is 6/10. 3/10 is less than both of those because we're taking a part of a part. Okay, the next one, the simple step for multiplying. Multiply the numerators. 1 times 3 equals 3. 3 times 4 equals 12. So 1/3 times 3/4 equals 3/12. I'm going to simplify that to 1/4. And our next one. 2 times 5 equals 10. Multiply our numerators. And 3 times 6 equals 18. I need to simplify that because they're both even. They can be divided by 2. So I get 5/9. Okay, I am going to stop here. Tomorrow we will look at the shortcut after we do some practice with regular multiplication. Have a wonderful night.